Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing great today. Okay, so when I was posting those two-part videos that I posted, for people who follow me on Instagram and Twitter, I did make a promise to you and I said, please, you have to watch these videos. Watch these videos because if you don't watch them, you may not understand what I'm coming with. The promise that I made was that immediately after those videos, the very next video that I would post will be about something that will interest a lot of you. It would alarm some of you as well. But then it was important for you to have seen those videos before seeing this particular video. And I believe that you have seen them. I'm so happy and proud of that brother for what he has done. You've seen what he talked about Nigeria and a few other African countries. Let me now bring you the news that I believe many of you must have seen already. It's not actually news. It is something that has happened. If you live in Nigeria, you must have realized already that all those your big telecom companies have a harmonization of codes right now. In other words, if you want to check your account balance, if you want to check your data balance, or you want to buy data, you have just one code for every single one of them. I used to know MTN code for checking account balance to be *556# or hash, yeah? Airtel was *123#, yeah? And Etisalat, which is now later 9Mobile, was I think *232#. I can't remember that of Glo. So these are the four big telecom companies in Nigeria: Globalcom, Airtel, MTN, and 9Mobile. Whether you use Airtel or Glo or MTN or 9Mobile, your account balance now can be checked by just dialing *310# or *310#. Can you believe that? You must have seen that already. If you have a phone, you can check this out. If you haven't checked lately, you're going to just see that even if you tried using the old code, they will redirect you and tell you, oh, we no longer use this. You can now use this to check your account balance. You can now use *312 to check your data balance. For all the networks, it's not just one. Every single network you are on, you use the same code. What is happening? Is that like some type of technological advancement? Is that like an improvement on the technology that was available to people in Nigeria? No. You see, before any totalitarian regime dawns on humanity, there's always going to be some type of harmonization of activities. There's going to be a harmonization of telecommunication activities. There's going to be harmonization of economic activities, harmonization of financial transactions, harmonization of trade and commerce services, harmonization. They harmonize everything and rope it into one because this is the only way the Antichrist is able to control our world. That's why the Bible talks about one word. How do you think you're going to get one? In a world that is so complex and diverse, you have to bring all this diversity and complexity and rope all of them into just one whole. It's like the pieces of the puzzle scattered everywhere. You bring them into one place to just make the full picture of the puzzle. That's what is happening right now. They're bringing the pieces together so you can now have your one world government, one world religion, one world financial system, one world currency, one world this, one world that. One, always one. It started with BVN, right? You remember BVN? The brother talked about it in those videos. That's why I said you have to watch those videos to understand everything that I'm coming up with in this video. BVN, all your accounts must be linked. People kind of worried about it a little bit and they were like a little resistant to it. but then realized that there was a lot of stress and inconvenience that it was causing them for not having their accounts linked. Everybody ran and did it. Once the inconvenience is shown, you say, oh, I don't want this stress. You go and do it. And then we went past that part. And then the next was what? NIN. The NIN, it was like a joke. People tried to resist. And then the inconvenience came. They shut down your phones and said, if you don't, you're not going to be able to use your phone because you've already gotten used to using your phones. Everybody around, pull. And we all agreed. And we did it. Now they are synchronizing so that at the end of the day, when all of this is done, you know what it's all going to lead to? It's going to lead to a point where by the touching of just one switch, everything about your life is shut down. That's the whole aim. Just in case you don't know, or in case you didn't know before, that's the whole aim. If everything is not harmonized, if everything is not synchronized, if everything is not brought into one system, one operating system, how are they going to be able to shut you down when you are not going along with what they want you to go along with? If they say go here and you say no, they shut you down. And when they shut you down and some other things are still functioning or functional, it doesn't make sense. So everything about you has to be roped into one system where by just one switch, just pulling it up or down, your life can either start or it can end in an instant. This is where we're headed. And what you're seeing with the synchronization or harmonization of the codes is just the beginning of what is to come. You're going to hear more. They're still putting the blocks together on top of each other. You're going to hear more of the plans that they have for humanity. Because everything that is divided or separated will be brought together under one. If they are bringing all the religions of the world together, I'm not saying all the denominations under Christianity, all the religions of the world, if the Pope has succeeded in roping all of them into one, not that he is planning to, he's done it already. How do you think they are going to leave your telecommunication activities to be scattered all over the place? It's going to become one as well. And there's a reason for that. And it's not happening only in Nigeria. It's happening all over the place. All over the place. And the reason it's happening in Nigeria and in parts of Africa and other parts of the world at the local level, I would say, is because on the global level, they are already finalizing the agreement and the plan they are going to use to control the mechanisms that this harmonization will give birth to. Let me play you something that will shock you. As I play you this video, I might stop in between to explain one or two things, but I want you, please, to pay very close attention.
The World Health Organization is moving forward to revise international health regulations in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Some member states are expressing concern over provisions of the zero-draft WHO Convention Agreement. Critics say the proposed agreement would give the WHO authority over health care, trade, and other aspects of our lives. Well, joining us to explain more is Reggie Littlejohn. Ms. Littlejohn is president of Women's Rights Without Frontiers and co-chair of the Stop Vaccine Passport Task Force. Hi, Reggie. Before we discuss how this ties into U.S. law, what would approval of this zero draft agreement mean for people worldwide?
Well, I believe that it will mean the establishment of a worldwide totalitarian biotech state. So these instruments, and by the way, you correctly characterized the zero draft as an agreement. That's what they're calling it. They don't want to call it a treaty because they are deliberately trying to subvert the United States and the other countries' treaty processes. So if it's an agreement, all it takes is a signature. It does not take going through our Senate. So people say, oh, don't worry about it. It will never pass our Senate. Well, they are deliberately subverting our Senate process.
Signatories must recognize, quote, the central role of the WHO as a directing and coordinating authority on international health work. What do you believe that means?
Well, it means that the WHO is able to call the shots if there's any health emergency or potential health emergency anywhere in the world. And the language that says that they have to have the permission of the country is stricken so that they can do it without the permission of the country. And it's not only about human health. They have something called One Health, which means that they can do it on behalf of human health, animal health, plant health, the environment. They can use any reason that they want to be able to come in and basically run the show in terms of addressing that health issue.
What they are saying, in case you didn't understand that, is that the WHO proposed Zero Draft Convention Agreement is going to give so much authority to WHO to control your health, to run your trade and commerce, to have right to also run other aspects of your life. That's the Zero Draft Agreement they are proposing, which member states have all agreed on. But that's just a proposal. And the moment you put your signature down, you are simply saying to WHO that if there is anything like a health emergency or potential health emergency in my country, you will come in and assume a central role without even seeking our permission, because as the woman said, there is a part of WHO's involvement in local pandemic outbreaks that means they must go and seek permission from the nation that is involved before they can come in. So for instance, something breaks out in Nigeria or in Ghana or any other African country or anywhere else, before WHO will come in, they have to get the permission of the host country. They have taken that away right now. So they don't need any permission of any host country anymore. All they need to do is let there be a pandemic declared somewhere. And the pandemic, as you heard, is not just pandemic that is pandemic happening with human beings or happening with animals, but also with the environment, because all these three entities are all roped into what they call One Health. Remember the policy of one. Let me read you what One Health is all about, just in case you don't understand. One Health is an approach calling for the collaborative efforts of multiple disciplines working locally, nationally, and globally to attain what? To attain optimal health for, listen to this now, for people, animals, and our environment, as defined by the One Health Initiative Task Force. They even call it a task force. You do what you're told to do. So now, in the spirit of harmonization into oneness, you now have humans and animals and environment roped into one, and it's called One Health. And so, if there is a health emergency with humans, if there is a health emergency with animals, if there is a health emergency with your environment, it's enough to make the WHO to show up in your country and run the show without any permission from your country's government or leadership. This is what these people are proposing. Simply put, the moment a new pandemic is declared, you are just at the mercy of the WHO. Even countries that don't trust WHO. I know what happened when the last pandemic happened. I know how there's so many countries that would not trust WHO. Many people came up with their own vaccines. People came up with the cures that they believe would be okay for their peoples, for their citizens, for their indigents. Though if this is the case now, WHO will not allow you to proffer any solution to any local pandemic in your country. So if your country has any issue, whether with the environment or animal or humans, WHO will step in and run the show. You have absolutely no say.
And I've read the Zero Draft proposal. It gives the WHO authority over the global supply chain, trade, commerce, through establishment of the WHO Global Pandemic Supply Chain and Logistics Network. WHO Director General Tedros would lead that effort early on in the pandemic. You remember Tedros praised President Xi Jinping for China's efforts to control the outbreak. So your thoughts on him and his potential control of the supply chain?
Well, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus is very closely aligned with the Chinese Communist Party, and the Chinese Communist Party has absolutely outsized influence at the World Health Organization, which is why they were able to get away with all the lies that they did, which were just amplified by Dr. Tedros. So this is not a good alliance at all. And in terms of the supply chains, they are also wanting to take control over the intellectual property. Like if somebody in the United States or another country develops a great vaccine, they're going to be forced to share that information, which I think is bad for the production of pharmaceuticals. I think that the intellectual property rights are very important.
Under the global pandemic logistics and supply chain, Tedros would take over trade and commerce when there is a pandemic. So basically,